We are going to discuss about Mohamed Siad Bare, the longest serving president of Somalia. I am going to talk about him because in my previous videos, some of you requested me to talk about Mohamed Siad Bare. He was the third president of Somalia, and sincerely speaking, until recently, Somalia had no central president. And he was the longest running president from 1969 to 1991. This is his life history. Nobody knows exactly the year he was born, because even people who were born around my time, I know some of them who estimate their time of birth. So it is estimated that he was born in any time between 1910 and 1920 in a place called Garbahare. Garbahare is a place in Ogaden region of Ethiopia. So he was born inside Ethiopia. His father was from the Marehani tribe, and his mother was from the Ogaden tribe. Before we continue, I would want to tell you that among the Somalis then and even now, it is very rare to find a Somali with such background. 99% of the Somalis, you'll find that both parents are from one tribe. Now for him to have a Marehani dad and an Ogaden mother, even today it is not easy. Later in life, he changed his place of birth. He changed his place of birth and placed himself, when filling in his documentation, he indicated that he was born inside Somalia, inside the Italian Somalia. This is because when the Italian and the British agreed to give independence to Somalia, United Somalia of the two countries, the British Somaliland, which nowadays is called Hargeisa, and the Italian Somaliland, when they formed the Republic of Somalia, the British and Italians had brought in a constitution, which is still there even today, that somebody who was born outside the two Somalilands cannot be the president or cannot have a political seat. So he changed his place of birth. Kenyans who are of my age know that we even used to change, and you see, he's even older than my father. So when he was about 10 years old, he saw his father was killed in his presence. Now that is what we are now saying, violence to kids. When you expose kids to violence, or either on TV or even physically seeing the way Mohamed Siad Bare saw his father being killed, he became a sadist throughout his life. Those who knew him know that he could change in a moment, in a flash, he would change from a very accommodative person to a very sadist person. When he grew up, he joined the police as an inspector of police. Then he rose and became a chief inspector of police, and even once served as the OCS Mogadishu. He went through a certain procedure which is very rare. It is very rare because after reaching the rank of chief inspector, he transitioned into the army and joined the SNA, Somali National Army, as a cadet officer, where he rose up the ranks. Once Somalia became independent, corruption became the order of the day. It became the order of the day during the period of President Dahir and also during the time of President Sharmake. Remember, President Sharmake was the prime minister to the first government. Then he became the president. So somewhere in 1969, he was assassinated by one of his members of staff. The then prime minister was out of the country when President Sharmake was murdered. And then the prime minister rushed back to Mogadishu to supervise the election of a new president. And when the elections were being conducted, corruption was so much in the open. And as I've said, in those days, in all spheres of the public service in Somalia was an open corruption. The only non-corrupt organization in the Somali country or the Somali nation was the military. So when the electoral college were electing people, they were being bribed openly. They were being bribed openly, and it was seen that the highest bidder would be the president. So when it was seen that way, there is a day that the TV station interviewed the military commander, who was General Mohamed Siad Bare, and asked him what he was asked what the military would do. He said military would not be corrupt and military will do anything that is there for the country. The following day, the military overthrew the electoral college and the prime minister and whatever. So in 1969, he became the president. Siad Bare, as I said, he headed a military which was non-corrupt, but also he had a good socialist manifesto. He had so many good necktops as zingine. He had a very good socialist manifesto which was working well. But he came up with also nationalism, where he started a shifter war in northeastern and also the Ogaden war in Ethiopia. But you see, losing them both would also cost him a lot. And then it happened that there were so many Marehanis. Marehani is not the biggest tribe. Marehani, but I was in northeastern up to 1990, so I don't know any changes which came later. But you'd find that disciplined forces, Marehani ndio walikuwa wanajaa huko. Just like in Kenya, Kalenjins na Wakamba sometime, but nowadays That is why you find Guchapa Kichana. So in Somalia, the tribe that is so many in the disciplined forces, the Marehan, and so overthrowing him was a bit hard. But because of the loss of the two wars, the Shift and the Ogaden, he became weak, and thereby he was overthrown in 1991. That, viewers, is the history of Mohamed Siad Bare. Somebody said that I'm a linguistic. Do I know Somali? Yeah, I know some Somali. Afti, Nabadmiya, Wafaya, Aniga Majarten Waria, Pesa Male, Nyiri Male, Forno, Aleso, Fienafti, Escavarat. Bye.